Welcome to DLC. This week, we review LA Noire, Rockstar's new epic sandbox game.
You never saw the one that keeps you awake at night.
You shot a man in cold blood. You're going to have to pay for that.
Alright guys, it's been on, it's been off, but finally LA Noire's out. Dave, what'd you think about it?
I think it kind of lives up to the hype, but it's kind of a flawed... I'd like to think of it as a project with a hairline fracture. For people who don't know what LA Noire is, it's a detective story that's set in the 1940s, and you play Cole Phelps, who's come back from the war, a little disillusioned, and he's looking at making a new start, so he's rising up the ranks of the LAPD. In the words of Martin Lawrence, you need to detect shit. And that's exactly what you end up doing. It utilizes a lot of new technology, motion scan, this sort of stuff, which is brilliant, but it doesn't quite get all of the way there. I mean,
look, motion scan is a great place to start because that's the technology that they've really pushed this whole time. That's what they're selling, and that's the part that's most amazing about it. I mean, you've got this facial capture technology that is the most lifelike thing I've seen in a video game ever. You know, you can tell if these people are lying, if they're, you know, hiding something, whether they're being honest, and it just captures every little nuance of the performance. The problem is, from there, is that seems to be the thing that they've focused most on to the behest of everything else. So, you know, the rest of the animations are crappy. The rest of the gameplay is kind of crappy outside of everything that revolves around these investigations. The biggest letdown of this game is that it had so much potential to tell kind of a dynamic narrative, but it stuck to this very linear form, and it disappointed in all of the side areas.
I'm Detective Phelps of the LAPD.
How can I help, Detective?
Your name would be a good start.
Dudley Lynch. Hired help. I run the place when the owner ain't around.
Where is the owner?
He stepped out. Somebody had to take Lorna, Mrs. Patterson, home.
Well, what I found really interesting about it was you get these great sections of dialogue and great acting because of the motion technology that they're pushing very heavily, and you're focusing so heavily on the storyline, and then all of a sudden you're back to a GTA 4 engine. Your character doesn't move very fluidly, your interaction between items is kind of dated as opposed to what we're used to, and it takes you in and out of this really immersive world, and I found that very off-putting.
I found that, especially when you're in the interrogation and they give you the choices between truth, lie, and doubt, it's just like truth is the easiest thing in the world because you see the guy and they're just like, he's standing there just... Okay, I think he's not flinching, and then, you know, if you have any doubt or lies, he's sort of sitting there and he's like, you know, looking left and right. A lot of the problems that I've had with it is that the clues that they get you to pick up, first of all, they discount immediately what's not relevant.
Yeah.
And it would have been great if they said, you know, hey, this could be a clue.
It needs more red herrings.
Yeah, and let you work it out, whereas they sit there and he picks up something and he'll be like, not likely, and then just throws it away. And you're just like, well, let me make that decision.
Takes a certain animal cunning, lad. Do you think you might be ready for that?
What have we got?
2 stiffs, overdosed. The victim was dead before the car hit him.
It would lead to a further level of immersion and actually require a bit of thought as opposed to kind of dragging you through by your hand, which is the problem that I have with the game. It's like the missions start to get a little bit either obvious or it doesn't matter if you get them wrong, so you stop trying as hard as you would if you actually thought that you could fail and lose the mission entirely.
Well, look, the aim of the game is to make you feel like a detective, right? And I just don't think that it does that because you're going into these investigations, as you pointed out, and you've got 3 options, and you can only pick lie if you have evidence to back it up. And then there's these logic leaps between, you know, I remember a case where there was torn panties in another girl's handbag that you then had to link to this other girl circumstantially to get her and call her out on a lie. Otherwise it's doubt, and if you pick the wrong one you kind of get this musical cue to say you failed. But at the same time you don't have that sense of satisfaction, you don't feel terribly intelligent. It feels more like one of those old school games where you're just going through your inventory and saying...
Just clicking on whatever's next in the item and hoping that it works.
Well, the goal of LA Noire, I mean, at the crux of it, is that they're telling a story, and...
Which is what they do.
They don't want to let pesky things like gameplay get in the way of getting the story out there. No, seriously, you can't fail. You know, if you fail an action sequence 3 times, they give you the, "Are you a retard? Would you like to skip?" and it drags you over the line, whether you want to go or not. They're like, we're getting you to the end of this. I think people need to play through it. It does tell great, if not flawed, story. And I fully believe in supporting homegrown, and I think it's a big leap forward for the local industry.
It's not the kind of game that you say rush out and buy necessarily straight away, but it's the kind of game that you say you need to play this because this marks a point in our gaming history that says this game means something and other games will learn from it.
Yeah, I would have to say that I agree with the boys. It's definitely a game to check out. Just want to make sure that people understand it does still have problems, but that's the way it goes.
I thought you'd been under fire before. So I'm supposed to believe that you don't know what happened?
I expect you to draw your own conclusions.
Not gonna happen, fellas.
This is your chance. Don't fail me.
We're done for now.